I asked Mildred. I was like, Mildred, you want to go to Chili's? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, fuck.
She's upstairs right now. I gotta go talk to her.
Gotta go convince her.
Gotta go convince her.
Gotta go find somebody else to go to Chili's with. Make her jealous.
Yeah, bro. Temptation Chili's.
Hosted by Mark L. Wahlberg.
Write that down right there.
Whoa, what do you know? It's the same two guys 7 days later. Who'd have thought? Actually, it's 6 days, right? Because you don't count the... Whatever. Welcome to the Joystick Show, episode, speaking of 237. Can you believe we've been doing this 237 episodes, man? It's kind of crazy. We've aged. I haven't really thought about that.
We've gotten older.
As we've done this. Yeah, we started this. How old were we when we started this? Like fucking 24?
Oh my god.
It's a weird thought, right?
Oh, but bro, I remember what was it? There was a song, this is so random, but there was a song on my playlist that had 2016 in the name. And I was like, that was 9 years ago. Okay, I got, I was like, it really, I don't know, fucked with me a little bit.
But we're here. We're here. We're still doing it. We're still chugging along. Joey and Jerry are still off. Joey's not in Tennessee anymore. Jerry's not in the city anymore. They're just, they have better things to do. And this totally wasn't just a crazy scheduling nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, this just.
But, we're here. We get it done. That's the important thing. The show goes on. And I also want to thank Dylan. I know you had a crazy stressful weekend, but we found the time. And we're doing the episode, and that's the good thing. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like this episode of the Joystick Show. You can feel free to subscribe to us as well. That makes us feel really, really grand, real. Just trying to think of an old term for happy.
I can think of some. They're all synonyms for.
I feel really real
gay.
Bully. Gay is a good one. Yeah. That's
which I also I even heard that one time queer was even used. I'm feeling.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
feeling pretty queer today. Yeah. That's a cheerful word.
Yeah.
So.
It almost sounds like cheer.
Yeah. But thanks for checking us out. The episode's probably going to be a little bit more of that. So if you didn't like that, probably time to go.
Yeah, 30 minutes of that.
So it's going to be a good one. I think I got all the YouTube mumbo jumbo out of the way.
Correct.
And Dill, what have you been up to?
Yeah,
pal?
So I've been up to a little bit. I did want to talk about something on the podcast that I didn't bring up the other week, and that was my experience going through Easter once again. I am now taking Greek Orthodox classes.
Yeah.
I also found out that I have to take basically a Greek wedding workshop, where in order to get married in the Greek church, you have to do a day seminar.
Gotcha.
So I have to do
I feel like it's way harder for Catholic weddings. I feel like you have to go through a whole week or two of training and shit.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of making up for it by doing 13 weeks of classes where I'm literally going to the church and fucking, sorry to say fucking in the sentence where I'm talking about a priest, but I'm FaceTiming this priest, you know what I mean? But I kind of love the whole Easter experience in the Greek Orthodox Church. I would love to have you or weirdly enough Jose to experience it, because literally in Whitestone here in Queens, they literally block off 2 blocks worth of the street. Yeah, because people walk out in the street because the service is 11 till 2 a.m.
Crazy.
Because and no one stays. People go or at least we go, right? But most people do it where they go 11:15 to 12:15.
Got you.
Right. That's
just for an hour.
Yeah.
Prime
exactly.
time. And then...
Yeah. He comes out. Christ has risen. Essentially, there's essentially one candle, and then everyone lights a candle. You daisy chain it so that all the candles are lit. Yeah. So just imagine 5.
What if one guy's candle goes out?
Then someone will help him out. It happens often. It's windy. You're trying not to get it. Greek women that have hair down their freaking ass. So it's you're really trying not to burn anybody. It's I would hate the light Yaya on fire. You know what I mean? Just not a good sight. But it's a really fun time. Yeah. Ironically enough, after doing all of my errands and also meeting with the priest. We had some free time, and I was like, would you want to go see a movie? And Marianthi was like, yes. So we saw the late night showing of Sinners. One of the best spontaneous decisions of my life.
Hey, I've heard this movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
Please do not spoil it for me.
No, I absolutely not. Anything that I've said or spoken has been stuff that has been wide knowledge. What I will say is that this follows the story of Michael B. Jordan.
His real life.
Yes. It's a documentary about him. No, but it's essentially him playing the identical twin duo Smokestack, which is essentially like a blues duo who are now going from like big time. They were touring in New York and Chicago, and now they're back in the South. And it's that's it's a horror movie by technicality.
I will say Joey explained some detail to me. In Joey's own words, he said it's a vampire movie that's more of a musical, but the vampires are racist. And I was like, okay.
I mean, that's not a spoiler because they do show you a couple of times, and it is a big, like, of course, it's Ryan Coogler. Of course, there's going to be some type of race element to it, but the vampires are also adjacent to the clan. And that's revealed basically like 20 minutes into the movie.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's pretty like it's in some there's like some chants from the KKK and some of the but the way it is a horror movie. I will say it is by far, if you really look at the whole thing, it is a horror movie. Like the movie has like this like haunting motif throughout the whole thing that like when something's going to happen, it's like that same fucking score comes in and it's like that same sound and you're like, oh shit. There's like maybe like 4 or 5 moments where like I would almost imagine it as like a vampire slasher film.
Okay.
If that makes sense, where it's like someone's like, I gotta go take a piss, and every single person in the theater was like, no, do not, like, don't go outside.
You're not safe.
Like literally everyone was like screaming because and then he's like slowly walking through the forest, and you're like, okay, I wonder what's gonna fucking happen.
I was going to say, I think it's really funny that there's a select number of groups, specifically hate groups, that like we as a people can all just kind of look at and like for the most part collectively go, oh, they're awful. Like they're awful human beings, right? To the point where we can turn them into like monsters. And for years, it's always been like Nazi zombies. And now we have Ku Klux Klan vampires.
Oh, it was definitely, it was definitely like that. But if I had to really like give like vibes of this movie off, I don't know if like every Ryan Coogler movie is like this, but the dialogue is so like everyone's just roasting each other at all times. It's like very interesting, like because basically Michael B. Jordan plays 2 people and also everyone else is kind of just like ripping and making fun of each other, and you're like, it's a little too much at times where you're like, do people talk? Is everyone just kind of like shitting on each other at all times? But you're like, it fits the vibe and it's very fun. But besides that, it definitely gives more of like that like period piece action drama kind of.
Cool.
Yeah, like it's definitely a little different than that. Some movies I compared, like I said before, from Dusk Till Dawn, there's a scene that's like literally a scene from that movie. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, with like the music and the journey and the moving from place to place. What else could I fucking describe?
Blade.
Fuck, I don't even know. Fucking, this is gonna be a good one. I would say like Luck of the Irish. Huh. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. There's some Irish shit to it, and you're like, oh, you're like the kind of slaps. But yeah, great movie. I recommend it to anybody. And yeah.
Fire.
Fucking,
what do you give it out of 10? Out of curiosity,
I want to give it a 10 so badly.
No, it has like a 99, 98 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I would probably give it a 10. Some of the dialogue, like I said, is either a little too much or it's like it's like very spoon-fed to you sometimes. They're like, where the clan, blah blah, like it's very like thrown in your face. But besides that, I would give it a 10.
Cool.
Some things I would change maybe, but I mean it's almost a perfect movie, and by the end of it you're gonna be like fucking like the one white guilt guy in my audience that I was at. Big clap. And there's also some kind of like sci-fi futuristic stuff that he throws in there. Some black culture references, some rap stuff. That's cool.
Interesting.
Which is interesting for a period piece. I thought it would kind of ruin it, but I was like, all right, that's kind of sick.
Yeah. All right. Lit. Shout outs to Sinners. I've also been watching some just groundbreaking cinematic just
oh, is this the segue?
Film quality.
This is the segue?
Yeah,
okay.
some 10 out of 10 entertainment.
Oh
I don't even
God.
know how this started. Oh, actually, I do remember how this started. Actually, here's a little fun fact. I was editing 236 of the Joystick show.
Oh.
Wow, a little insight into how the show's made. It's me.
Yeah.
So I was editing the show late night on a Tuesday. I was probably halfway done with it. That's usually how I do it. If you ever notice, sometimes the episode comes out late on Wednesday. It's because Bobby pushes it to the last second. But the episode usually always comes out. It's fine. Point is, I was getting the episode done, and my girlfriend was winding down, and she wanted to put something on that, you know, she could just kind of like not really care about. So she decided to put on a reality television show, which isn't out of the ordinary for her. You know, we kind of have this acknowledgement where we both oddly enjoy just kind of watching it for the stupidity of it, you know. But I literally told her, I was like, just put something on. I don't care. I'm not really going to be paying attention because I'm busy editing, right? After like episode 1, maybe like a little bit into episode 2, I look over and Mildred's just like slumped in my bed, just like knocked out. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then I don't know what it is, but like I look at the screen and there's just some action going on, and I'm like, oh, you know, there's some character development, you know, some plot lines being structured, and next thing I know, I've watched like 4.5 episodes of this show. The show I am speaking of is called Temptation Island.
Yes.
And real quick, I'll just give the quick spiel of what this show is. Basically 4 couples go onto an island. I think it's like Mexico or Hawaii or something. They basically get split up. So the women all live in a women's villa. The men live in a men's villa. But the big catch is that the women live with 12 single bachelors, and the men live with 12 single bachelorettes, and it's supposed to be this whole temptation test, right? So these couples go on because they typically have problems with trust issues, infidelity. Maybe they don't, you know, match each other's sexual desires, whatever it may be. They have their reasons. And I'll also be the first to note, you know, it's reality TV. So a lot of this stuff is bullshit in the first place. Yeah, but absolutely. Damn, is it structured well. Like, you know, if it's crafted, it's like, you know, it's like Judge Judy. Like, that shit isn't real, but it's good.
Are you watching it?
Exactly. So point is, there's so much to talk about with this show. But I think the first thing I just want to mention is like the quick structure of like how the show progresses. Because the main thing is like, yeah, like the couples get to, or rather the singles get to, or not the singles, but the people get to go on dates with the singles and get to know new people and stuff. And there's no rules. Like if you want to have sex with somebody, you can do it. But the consequence is that almost everything is filmed. And there are like these bonfires where they show the other person in the couple like clips and snippets of what the other person has been doing, right? And then to further it, to make it even more fucking disrespectful, it's like the editors editing it to make it sound even worse or look even worse than what it is, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
So it's just juicy all in all. And one thing I'll say about that is right in that moment when I saw the bonfire scene, I was like, I know what this show is. And that's because apparently I looked into it. The show Temptation Island has been around since like 2001.
Yeah.
I think it started in the Netherlands, and it's just one of those shows a la Survivor that's been syndicated in every fucking country. And I think last year a Spanish-speaking version of the show went viral because a contestant was forced to sit at the bonfire and watch his girlfriend fuck another dude 3 separate times. And granted, I don't remember the other 2 reactions, but the most viral reaction was the first one, because when they show him in like typical Spanish drama, he like rips his shirt open and he's like, no, por qué? And then like at one point he like runs into the ocean, and the camera crew was like, what the fuck? And like the host is like, stop, Claudio, stop. And like they're chasing him. But what's actually funny about that clip is like apparently
I gotta see this shit.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. Apparently the video that they're showing is like live stream, and in that version they like show everything. So they're showing like them having sex under the blanket, but since it's live, this guy's like running towards the villa from the set where they're filming the bonfire, and there's like a part where he screams the girl's name. I don't remember what it is. He's like, Lucia, and you see like the girl and the guy like stop. They're like, what the fuck? And it's like, damn, they were showing this guy live footage. footage. That's insane, bro. But point is, juicy show, all in all. And I could sit here and I could talk about a lot of stuff. But one thing I'll just get to right off the bat is whenever I watch these reality TV shows, I immediately go to one source, and that's Twitter.
Yeah.
Or X. I don't care what the fuck you call it. I'm not a big fan of Twitter's consensus on anything, but when it comes to reality shows, it's pretty interesting to see what a lot of people are thinking. And I immediately went onto Twitter at Temptation Island, top post, what's going on, and I was reading like the consensus, and yeah, they're all right off the bat. The guys in the show immediately like cheat on their girlfriends. Like the second they get the chance.
Of course, that's like the whole. I mean, honestly, I would argue that like the invention of the show is for that very reason.
Yeah,
it was like to prove that point, and it succeeded. You know,
and they fucking add flame to or whatever like to the fire. They stoke that shit. Like they push them hard.
I know, yeah.
At one point, they even introduced like a tent. I think it's called Temptation Haven, and they're like, "There's a new element. We've added it to your houses. There's no cameras. You can do whatever you want in there. But when you go in, a light goes off at the other house." When I heard that, right, I thought it was like in the kitchen. There's just like a red light, you know? It's literally what I envisioned. And then when somebody's in it, it just goes on. And then they have to like sit there and be like, oh, fuck, you know, wait till the light goes off. This shit is like a siren from the movie Incredibles, bro. Like, I kid you not. Like, the whole island blares red. It's like, woo, woo. Like, in the bedrooms, like, people will wake up at 1:30, 2 in the morning. So it's like, basically, like, yo, your girlfriend's having sex. And it's like, whoa, what the fuck, you know? So this show is just fodder for that.
Yeah.
But that being said, the big consensus was that the guys were shit, which they were. But what I found interesting is people were equally as frustrated with the girls on the show, because whereas the guys took every opportunity to cheat on their girlfriends, and the girls saw that, instead of like basically doing the same thing with the guys, they were like using all these like 12 hot dudes as like therapists. So every time they cut to the guys, it's always them being like, fuck boys, like, yo, you trying to get in the shower, da, da, da. And then when they cut to the girls, it's like them on a couch with 3 buff dudes. And they're like, I just don't know why he won't grow up. And they're just like, you got to understand, like, from a guy's perspective. And it's like, it's really annoying to watch, because you're like, it gets to a point where I'm almost like, dude, just fuck this guy, because your boyfriend ain't shit, right?
Yeah. He's some random fucking. There's a billion Tylers in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
There's a ton of them.
And there's a few on the show. Yeah. But fucking the last thing I'll mention is like one premier couple is these two contestants named Brianne and Shantae. And Twitter just hates these people. And at first I was like, I don't get it. And then as I progressed through the show, I was like, I get it. In his case, he comes on the show and he's basically like, oh, you know, I've done everything. I've had threesomes. I've, you know, fucked like thousands of girls. Fresh and fit kind of like attitude, right?
Yeah.
And then her whole spiel is she's like the complete opposite. Like, she's basically like, I acknowledge that he's done that stuff. He wants me to be more sexual, but that's not how I am. And I'm just hoping that we can come out of this, you know, alive or whatever.
Yeah, like, girl, we know the answer.
Spoiler alert, this dude has a threesome with 2 of the girls in a shower, like straight up. And it's like, damn. And then they show this girl. And then the reason people hate her is because they basically show this guy cheating on her like 6 different times. And she's like making excuses every time. You know, she's basically like, you know, like, I'll find the time to mourn this, but right now, like, I just don't have anything to feel. You know, he's working through his stuff. And I'm like, shut up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, straight up. And then, like, the last thing I'll mention is literally after this guy, Brian, has the threesome, he has the audacity to say something along the lines of, no, I don't feel like I've disrespected Shantae, because this is just sex, you know? Like, there wasn't anything emotional. If I had sex with one of those girls, that's one-on-one sex. That's a whole different thing. That would be fucked up. And I'm like, do you have 2 dicks that you're you know what I mean? Like, is that
he's got a split personality, bro. Yeah.
That being said, I do want to mention that was Mildred's joke. I can't in good faith steal that. So
okay.
My girlfriend ghost wrote that joke.
Yeah.
So well, Mildred's stamp of approval. Yeah. There you go.
Well, how you kind of hinted at it before, not to be this guy, but you kind of hinted at the fact that this is a, in quotes, reality show. So in moments like this, you gotta be like, damn, am I really being rage baited right now, or are these people actually this stupid? And it's probably a mixture of both. Yeah. It's probably both.
It absolutely is. Yeah. If I'm being honest, what I think it is that they find stupid people, and I'm not saying this for all of them, but for the most part, they find stupid people who think that because they're on a television show, like everything they say is smart, and it's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, you're not being portrayed that way.
Sometimes it'll happen, they'll have like this chick, they'll be like, meet Amanda. She's a dental assistant from Miami, and she's got like giant fake tits and big fake lips, and then she'll come out with like the wisest shit you've ever heard anyone say, and you're like, okay, Amanda, somebody's got a master's degree, but fucking. Either Temptation Island, it's a good watch. I can't deny it. I'm not gonna rate it. It's not rate worthy. It's just something you put on in the background. But I couldn't not talk about it after fucking consuming it for a week straight. So I was tempted. What could I say?
You're tempted by the island,
tempted by the island, man. That's how it be. I have something to swing it on to. It has nothing to do with islands, but it is fun.
Temptation?
Nah. I think you actually mentioned it either on the podcast or in recency hanging out doing the podcast that there's a new YouTube channel that popped up recently called the B-Ball Explainer, that it's basically like Paint Explainer but for basketball.
Yes, there's channels that basically do basically like everything in a certain amount of minutes or everything explained. There's a history one, and there's basically every category.
Yeah. So I watched one. I don't know how many you've watched.
I've watched a lot of them, yeah.
Have you seen the weirdest rules one? Mm-hmm. Fucking interesting there. Mm-hmm. You've heard about that disaster draft?
Yep.
Had no idea.
Uh-huh.
So to bring everybody up to speed, found out that the NBA has this weird, in the vault rule.
Yeah, in case of disaster, break safe.
This is literally like, worst case scenario in the event that a catastrophic event claimed the lives of multiple members of an NBA team, like a plane crash or a collapse. The NBA would go into a disaster draft where every team would be allowed to only keep 5 players, and every other player on the roster would be eligible to be drafted by essentially the 30th team, which is some crazy fucking shit to think of.
So in fact, even if you consider what those rules are, even during the expansion draft, which is a thing that happened when the league expanded into multiple
and
may happen soon, you're usually allowed to protect 6 to 7.
Yeah.
So those are actually pretty brolic rules, but it won't happen, hopefully. It's only happened in like 8 different movies, but never in real life.
And what I find interesting is the NBA implemented the rule based off of catastrophes that happened in other sports, so it's like they saw what happened to soccer teams and shit like that, and they were like, maybe we should just have this put away
the NBA
for safety.
Is like their futuristic thought, they try to get ahead of the curve upon everything.
Yeah.
So
no, I found that the videos look really. I've been watching a lot of them.
My favorite is records that can't be broken or records that like
you wouldn't want.
Yeah. Both are really good because a lot of the records that can't be broken literally cannot be broken ever. Like you like if you tried to get this record, you can't.
It'd be like rule change stuff.
So like for example, a guy has a record for example, Rasheed Wallace, most amount of like flagrants, which now if you get more than a certain amount of flagrants, you get suspended.
Yeah.
So you can't even get to that many flagrants.
Yeah.
You literally would not even be allowed to play in the league anymore if you got to reach that amount. Mm-hmm. And there's just like a ton of rules like that.
I saw this one I found interesting. I didn't know that when you shoot the ball at the end of a quarter, the game is not over until the ball dies. So people think that it's when the ball touches the ground, but that's not the case. So basically in the event of a buzzer beater situation, if a player were to arc the ball into the air and bounce it off the ground, and the ball were to bounce off and go into the hoop, the points would be scored. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's never happened in the NBA, but it has happened in one European game. And rightfully so, the referees gave the points and the team won the game.
That's insane.
And it's just like this weird fucking scenario. So like one day, maybe we'll see the full court bounce in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if anybody will do it, it'll probably be Steph. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. So
42-year-old Steph.
Yeah, fucking he's balding. He's chubby.
He's invented the sport once again. He learned how to bounce shoot instead of bounce pass. We're like, this guy's ahead of the fucking game, bro.
Creates a whole new generation of kids that are just on courts, like, just bouncing it into the ground. Oh, fuck. I hate Steph Curry. He changed the game, man. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. It's my...
So I do want to shout out Applebee's. Shout out to Applebee's.
I have somewhere we could swing this from. Yeah. If you're actually shouting out Applebee's.
I am shouting out Applebee's just because I did see a clip of a podcast that had like 3,000 views, which I know is more than what we have, of course, right?
It's a bigger yield.
But they did get to the guy on Instagram to offer him some Applebee's or maybe a collab there. So if there's some Applebee's merch, I would really rock an Applebee's visor. I just want to put that out there.
Gotcha.
I don't think I'm worthy enough for a gift card, but we can work it out. I can earn the respect of Applebee's.
All right. Yeah. So I'll put that out there for you. This probably isn't a good segue, but now I want to talk about Chili's. So
yeah. Okay.
No, I wasn't. It's one of those weird situations where I wasn't watching the video. I was watching somebody watch the video.
So you were watching someone watch a video about Chili's?
Yeah, it's like that streamer thing where like when a streamer is playing a game and they have downtime, they just put on a YouTube video, and then in any weird situation, they'll put on a video that like you're like, oh fuck, I'm into this, and then you forget that they're playing the game, so that when they get back into the game, they have to stop playing the video, and you forget that you weren't watching the YouTube video yourself, and you're like, oh fuck, and you got to go find the YouTube video,
and then you skip to the point where you were. Oh my god, bro.
So I don't remember. I think it was like the Wall Street Journal or something like that, but it was like a reputable YouTube channel that had a sit down discussion, like a whole day with the new, I don't know how new he is, but basically like the acting CEO of Chili's, and like everything that he's done to like basically make Chili's a way more efficient and profitable restaurant. And if anybody in this YouTube channel needs to watch this video, it is Dylan fucking Diaz.
Okay.
In fact, actually, I was having a conversation about you with Jerry, Mildred, and Jessica like a week ago.
Okay.
And Jessica, we haven't seen her in a while. She was asking how you, Jose, and Joey were doing. You were giving her like the catch up or whatever. And at the time, you were telling us that you were interested in probably going back to school. You were even talking about possibly getting into like education or something. And immediately, Jessica and Mildred were like, I can't see Dylan being a teacher and shit like that. And then me and Jerry were like, I can't see Dylan being a teacher either. But if there's one thing that Dylan likes doing, it's like troubleshooting and like making things more efficient and like really getting in there and being like, nah, this is how we fucking make this shit work.
Exactly.
So I was like, I could low-key see Dylan being like a principal or some shit.
It's an efficient classroom.
Yeah, sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But point is, that being said, with that mindset, this Chili's video is like right up your alley. He's like going into detail about how like basically how they like he was explaining like people get this idea that variety means that the food is better, but in actuality being able to make a food consistently good is what brings people coming back.
Yeah.
So he was like, when he came in, he's like, I slashed the appetizer menu in half, and I only kept like the fan favorites and really like made sure that we were making them to the best of our ability. And I was like, fire. And then he also goes in talking like how he was like making money at the bar, and he's like, people will spend like $6 on a cocktail or something like that, but they'll spend more money on shots throughout the night. So we promote shots more than the cocktail because they're drinking the same amount of alcohol but paying more money per shot. Yeah. And I was like, genius. Fucking genius.
And if you've noticed over the last few years, what has gone viral every once in a while? Just people going to fucking Chili's. The amount of
2 for $25, bro.
Yeah, 2 for $25. The fucking pull thing.
Yep.
It's you fucking.
And that's why they made the video, because Chili's is on this like low key resurgence.
And I went, and guess what? It's okay. Like it's better. I
asked Mildred. I was like, Mildred, you want to go to Chili's? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh fuck.
She's upstairs right now. I gotta go talk to her.
Gotta go convince her.
Gotta go convince her.
Gotta go find somebody else to go to Chili's with. Make her jealous.
Yeah, bro. Temptation Chili's.
Hosted by Mark L. Wahlberg.
Write that down. I feel like fucking what's this? I don't know. Family Guy did the video, but it's like from Crimes and Misdemeanors. Alan Alda, the actor, is walking around with a tape recorder.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of like movie idea. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I was like, we take
eligible singles. To Chili's.
We take the hoes to Chili's.
There's something there.
And hoes are like, yeah, like fucking putting on the nicest Cookie Monster PJs.
I'm scrolling through my notes section a year later. I'm like, what the fuck does hoes equal Chili's mean? I'm like, what is this? What do I have Mark Albert Wahlberg's email?
H² equals You're like, what the fuck?
2 for $25 equals HO. Oh shit, man, that's amazing. Fuck, I had another thing and I totally forgot. It wasn't
Temptation Chili's.
It wasn't Temptation. I wrote it down though because that's what Bobby does. He talks in the third person and he writes down what he wants to speak about.
Okay.
And what I wanted to speak about. Oh, of course. How could I fucking forget?
I got to fucking pivot.
Wait, do you want to pivot first?
No,
because I did like 2 pivots. So you can pivot.
No,
you.
No, I don't want to.
No, I don't want to do it either.
No, fuck. All right, now we're just sitting here.
I'm not gonna talk to him. So pivot.
I can't. I really can't. I'm sorry.
We're really gonna do this fucking standoff right now? All right, fine. I'll talk about it.
Thank you.
Okay. I thought you were gonna do that thing where I start talking about it and then you start talking. Nah. Okay. Fucking Joey and I finally did a thing that we've been trying to do forever. We conceived a child. No.
Okay.
So last month, we're still in April. It's crazy.
Okay.
So last month, a little game came out by Hazelight Studios called Split Fiction. The studio is known for making these really, really fun and unique co-op experiences. You have to play the games with somebody else. To give you like a little taste, it'll be like, it's very puzzly, platformy. You got to get through levels where like one person is maybe controlling a bridge and the other person is actually walking through it and stuff like that.
Okay.
Their last game that they made called It Takes Two actually won Game of the Year 2 or 3 years ago. Very, very good story, really, really fun game elements. And their new game came out this year, like I said, Split Fiction. The story's pretty predictable, but it's all right. It features 2 female aspiring publishers who go to a futuristic company to have their stories, made, essentially.
Okay.
One of them, a girl named Mio, makes predominantly science fiction stories, and the other girl named Zoe makes fantasy stories. And then there's this whole crazy, like, evil sci-fi element where they find out that they're test subjects for this machine that, like, scans their brain and like steals their ideas to make them real life, blah, 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 blah. And that just sets up the idea that you get to play through the character stories, which is pretty, it's honestly pretty cool. The game came out like March 4th, and me and Joey just beat it because our schedules have just been so misaligned. Like he went to Tennessee and I had spring break when he wasn't on spring break. So like we've just been at this point where like any hour that we just had and sparing, it's be like, yo, you want to play Split Fiction? And then we play it for like a little bit. And what's actually funny is like we've played it like a couple of times where Joey would be like, it'd be like 12:30 at night. He'd be like, come on, I could play for like an hour. And like we'd be playing and like 45 minutes in, I'm like trying to solve a puzzle, and I just noticed Joey's side because it's in split screen. It's just like completely still, and Joey's just not talking. And I'm like, Joey, and he's like, oh, sorry, man, I knocked out. Sorry, bro. Like Joey falls asleep fucking anywhere, so he's like falling asleep sitting in the fucking chair.
So when you mix that with sleep deprived, actually has to be up in 5 to 6 hours, Joey.
Exactly. So we finally beat it like a month later. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it. I gave it initially a 10 out of 10, but then I realized that was me speaking purely on the gameplay. And to be fair, I also like to speak towards like the game's art direction and more importantly the game's story. If I had to factor everything, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 to 9. But the gameplay's a solid 10 out of 10. It's a lot of fun. Wanted to shout it out because I've been waiting weeks to actually talk about it since it's taken me and Joey forever to play it. I also feel bad that he's not here to talk about it. But another reason I wanted to mention it is because no more than 2 months that the game has come out, they've already announced that it's getting a movie adaptation, and Sydney Sweeney's like attached to play one of the girls. So it's like a legit film. It's not even like So it just feels very like weird. It's one of those situations where like
good for them, but also
it's like I acknowledge that video game adaptations are getting more and more popular, and we're starting to see them. But it's also kind of like, let's make sure that we're adapting the right ones. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say anything about like, because honestly speaking, there's moments in this game that feel cinematic as fuck. And I don't expect them to do it like a 1-for-1 thing, but if they are able to emulate some of that correctly, it will feel really good on screen. But like the basic story of like what the girls are dealing with in their lives outside of the publishing shit, it's like generic stuff. Like, ironically, anybody could have written that.
Well, I mean, I kind of think that's why they like it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they like that it's like a good bare like bones thing. Sorta. Yeah, that like, the basics are there. It's everyone can relate. Let's,
Yeah.
I think
I did want to shout out Split Fiction. It is a fun game. I was also talking with Jerry because we've been just fiending over blueprints. We'll probably talk about that.
I'm like not days behind because I feel like I'm at the same amount of days, but I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that behind now. I got, you know.
I'm on like 77 now or something like that.
Yeah, I'm around that
Blue,
same. But...
I definitely want to have like a Blueprints group discussion.
Oh, I feel like once we get like all the Sanctum keys and shit, like that.
I already got that.
You got all of them?
I got all of them.
Oh, fuck. I only have like 4 or 5.
That's what I'm saying. We'll have a group discussion. What have you found? You know, but I was just telling Jerry, it kind of sucks that Split Fiction and Blueprints, for that matter, had to come out in 2025 because so many like legit games are supposed to come out this year. And it's just like it's going to be a real competitive year for Game of the Year.
True.
And I'm excited to see what's going to come from it. But that's my Split Fiction rating, 8.5-ish, 9-ish. Definitely go play it, especially if you have a partner to play it with. And that being said, Dylan, pivot us to our last topic of the podcast.
Pivot us to the madness. I want to proclaim, I think I said something similar to this when I talked about the sport earlier on, but I would like to proclaim baseball as the world sport.
Yeah, that's fair. We've talked about this before. I mean, not really, because soccer.
Not really. There's a lot of countries that aren't involved.
Yeah.
I think that.
But I will say, of like the American sports, like baseball is definitely the one that's the most international.
Yeah, and basketball, Europe is gonna have that too, so I kind of want to give it to them. But like when the rest of like the island nations find out about baseball, it's fucking over, bro. Like Africa. Like in Africa, let's show Madagascar what the fuck baseball is. Yeah. Shit's gonna be over.
Build a Wrigley's in Madagascar. Those fucking lemurs. Because
it's like look at DR, Puerto Rico, Cuba. It's like they just play. It's like people like fucking go on boats, have the cartel smuggle them over. All to play baseball for the love of the game. Yeah. Literally, bro. But yeah, we should go to a game.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to go probably, sometime in May.
Dude, tell me, because Mildred actually wants to go too. So we should just make it like a group thing. Go get us some tickets.
Hey, I like that.
Go watch a team that's bad play against the Mets.
Oh, of course, because like the Mets, because that's also the thing that sucks about the Mets is that the Mets play up to their opponent. So if they're playing a good team, they lock in, and then when they're playing a bad team, it's like it's really rough.
Also, I've noticed there's like this weird pattern where like the last couple of times we've gone to Citi Field, I've had like a great experience and then a mid experience. So I'm hoping this next time it's going to be a great experience. But then I'm never going to go again because, patterns. Because last time I went, I bought a $35 gallon cocktail.
Yeah, that's not the vibe,
and drank it in the first 3 innings.
That's not the vibe.
Oh, I learned my lesson.
I go with literally the one beer.
Yeah. You're not going to go with the 999?
I even remember, because first off, now they have like the tall boys. It's not like back. I mean, you can get the cup now, but that's not worth it.
You got to commit.
Do you want a $12 cup of beer, or are you going to pay $16 and just get a tall boy that you could have bought at the bodega for $6?
Yeah, word.
But you know what? You're going to drink it. It's going to be fucking delicious. Let's go, Mets.
Yeah. All right, go baseball.
Go fucking.
And we will definitely go to a game.
And all the iterations, right? Like cricket is just kind of funky baseball.
Yeah.
But really?
Wiffle ball?
Softball on the weekends? It's big baseball.
Wiffle ball? It's safe baseball.
Oh, yeah. Remember I showed you like Blitz ball and the We Got Ice Boys?
Mad fun.
Like fun. Those videos are sick.
Mad sick. Yeah. We got to get in there somehow. We got to get like you in so we could build a team.
Oh
somehow.
My God, bro! I just become an intern at John Boy Media.
The jumping joysticks or some shit. But shout outs. All right, let's swing it on over to our weekly musical segment, the Jam and Yam of the Week. For those of you who do not follow, this is where me, Dylan, and sometimes Joey and Jerry share our musical recommendations for you to listen to.
Can I go first?
Of course you can, pal.
There's a weird phenomenon on Spotify where bands are more popular now back when they actually were like touring and existed. Like Super Heaven,
Deftones.
Like kind of bands that kind of, a lot of them fall in that kind of like shoegazy kind of genre. And another band that's very similar to that is Balance and Composure.
I don't even know who these people are.
They were a real big band from like the 2010s.
Wonder if I have any of their music.
They came back and released now, I think they have an album and an EP already.
I do have one of their songs. Let's wait to hear what yours is, though.
Yeah, so my song is Alive and Well.
Okay, mine is called Reflection.
Yeah, Reflection's a good one. That's actually that one's what's Jerry's called? Bams? Slams?
Yeah, Bams.
So that's Bam for sure. I remember because I remember when I asked Jerry, he had that song. And
that may have been where I got it from. Then.
I probably. So yeah, that's my one. Fucking Alive and Well. Also shout outs to Closer to God. Beautiful songs.
Fire. Yeah. I'm gonna go with a song by Quadeca.
Oh, I know.
Famous YouTuber who famously was a rapper and stuff, but it's actually making some beautiful fucking music as of late. And 5 days ago, released a little song on a Monday called Monday. So shout outs to Monday by Quadeca. I'm not even gonna say it has a cello and it has a flute. Go listen to it. It's beautiful. And apparently he even did some of the cello. So shout outs, great song. All right, we did it. Shake my hand, pal. All right. Thanks for watching the Joystick Show, episode 237. Oh, thank heaven. That's fun to say. Join us next week. Hopefully we'll get this shit scheduled out better so Joey and Jerry will be able to join us. We'll have a whole group thing going on. Maybe a little segment. It's been a while since we did one of those. Get ready for some content we're trying to roll out. Maybe some little baseball-themed Let's Plays that we're trying to make. Maybe a potential sports sketch that's in pre-production that we want to get out in a month and change. But check that out. We'll hope to keep you guys in the loop. And other than that, feel free to subscribe to Team Joystick. Like this episode of The Joystick Show. You know what? I'm going to throw a new one in there. Follow the Team Joystick Instagram account. That's a new one. That's a cool one, right? It's technically Mr. Joystick, but it's us, you know.
It's the same vibe.
We're never going to change the handle. That's ours. I know it's confusing, but people have offered me a lot of money for that handle. I know what I've got. I'm not getting rid of it. That's that. I'll trade it to the Team Joystick guy if they want to give me that one, but we'll see. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you. Peter picked a bunch of peppers, and then he went to the